Let's talk about Milwaukee. 95 wins, Milwaukee in here to play the Padres. Milwaukee is still in a dogfight to see who has the best record in all the National League. Milwaukee is going to go to the playoffs without one starter and maybe a second starter all of a sudden. You know, they've had some guys that have contributed this year that we never, ever imagined. And one of them was Brandon Woodruff, who was a former frontline starter, missed 2 full years with elbow surgery, shoulder surgeries. He's now got a lat strain. He's just gone on the DL and looks as if he is gone for a large chunk, if not all, of postseason. And Jacob Misiorowski, the hot young rookie, he had some health issues after 5 starts, got to the All-Star game, throwing 101 miles an hour and all that. And then his ERA exploded. They put him in the bullpen. He's got some shoulder problems too. So they might be down 2 starters with a week to go in the season. That's
interesting.
That's not good in Milwaukee. Second baseball item, Pittsburgh Pirates. He's only been there a year and a half. He's obviously the leader. And boys, he had something to say. Talking about Paul Skenes, the bright young Pirate star. He stands up on the clubhouse over the weekend and he challenges the owners publicly, and the media took this thing and ran with it. It's become a nationwide story. And his quote was, "I hope the owners of this team learn what the season was like, look in the mirror, have the tough conversation, make adjustments, and don't waste another year of our life." In essence, Paul Skenes is saying, bad roster, very little in the farm system, you've not spent very much payroll, fix the franchise. And this is from a guy that's only been in the major leagues a year and a half. But you're talking about a stand-up guy who makes a lot of sense, Paul Skenes. Washington, miserable season, pushing 100 losses. Washington Post does this investigative report yesterday in which they say the Lerner family, which has owned the franchise through a couple of generations, has wrecked the franchise. That it's directionless, that it's dysfunctional, that they have 10 family members in the hierarchy of the Nationals organization. And all these people sit in a room and have input, even though a bunch of these people don't have any baseball background. Boy, that's a bad combination. Bad story there in Washington. News and notes of who's hot and who's not in Major League Baseball. How about the Mariners? This dogfight in the American League West. Seattle's won 14 of their last 15, and they whacked Houston over the weekend. And then you got Cleveland. They've gone from 15 and a half games out of first place to 1 game back of Detroit.
Wow.
The Cleveland Guardians have won 14 of their last 16. So I text my friends back there, go Indians. I mean, that's a phenomenal comeback.
Go Tribe.
If they win the division because of what's happened in Detroit, it'll be the first time in 125 years baseball history that anybody's come from 15 and a half back to win.
Wow.
And they're one game back of Detroit right now. Yankees, they're doing it with their bats. They've won 18 of their last 26. I don't think they have anywhere near enough pitching, but some of the younger guys, Ben Rice, Austin Wells, starting to hit again with Judge, with Giancarlo Stanton, with Trent Grisham, who just keeps hitting home runs. Yankees suddenly are a very hot team at the right time. Like I said, they've won 18 in their last 26. Philadelphia Phillies, a little bit different team, but they've won 12 of their last 16 games. They're a little bit thin in the rotation. And Bryce Harper's not hitting home runs. He's had all these injuries for a year and a half, but they got enough guys putting the ball in play. Philadelphia is obviously a very dangerous team. And one that's not is Detroit. Nobody nationally is writing about this. I mean, this is an absolute collapse of their pitching staff. The Tigers have lost 18 of 25.
Whoa.
And nobody's talking about it. They've stopped hitting. They have one established starting pitcher, Tarek Skubal, and he was just examined for an oblique injury, yet he's taking the ball and going out there. They just DFA'd the number 2 starter, Charlie Morton, took him off the roster, had a 12.70 ERA in August. Jack Flaherty has not pitched with any consistency at all. Suddenly, Detroit's got no pitching, Like I say, they're 7-18 in almost the last month of Major League Baseball. And one final note here before I let John step into the batter's box. I don't know if you paid attention to the other races in the standings. In the fight for the final wild card in the National League, Cincinnati is now tied with the Mets.
Mets are in free fall.
And Cincinnati and the Mets are just one game ahead of the fire sale Arizona Diamondbacks. We got three teams separated by one game for the final wild card spot. That's just absolutely just amazing. Not that any of those guys would go very deep in postseason play, but I mean, if the Mets don't make the playoffs, this will be an unbelievable tank job, probably equal to what's happening up in Detroit. So, John, go ahead, pick a team, talk about Paul Skenes and anything else.
Yeah, just a couple of quick comments. The Paul Skenes thing, at first you're like, oh my God, that's something you should handle behind closed doors, that sort of criticism. I wonder, though, if he's sort of forcing the Pirates to get rid of him, because he's a malcontent and he's disrupting the chemistry. I mean, because they might need to trade him, so maybe this is giving them an excuse. What do you think of that?
I don't buy that because he's got such great value. He might win the Cy Young Award. I mean, look at the standings, how wretched Pittsburgh is. He's got a 2.09 ERA. He's going to probably win the Cy Young again.
It's like Steve Carlton with the Phillies those years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, what he's done, he's hit that hot button. I mean, he is igniting such controversy in Western Pennsylvania and from Pirate fans everywhere that this ownership group better step up and change the way they're doing the business and put better people here. So I was really intrigued with how strong his words were against the general manager, Ben Cherington, and obviously against the ownership, which has just sat there and done nothing.
Terrible ownership.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and just a few other things like, Detroit, total collapse. Someone called Denny McLain, the young Jack Morris, to get in there and save that pitching staff. But it's funny, you kind of focus on certain races. Obviously, we focus the most on the NL West. But for the longest time, that AL Central over there, it was like Detroit was up by a lot. And I just sort of stopped paying attention to that division. And all of a sudden, here come the Guardians. Now,
the Indians.
Yeah, the Indians. Excuse me. So when I always think of the Phillies in the 60s had the ultimate collapse.
Oh, yeah.
So is this potentially worse?
That's what the baseball record book says. The Phillies had a 13.5 game lead. I believe it was in 1964 with Gene Malk, but they ran out of pitching and they died on the mound and they wound up losing. But this was a 15.5 game lead over the Cleveland.
There's been some epic collapses like that in history. I mean, in 2010, remember the Padres had that great run, and then they just ran out of gas by around mid-August. So I don't know. I'm kind of tired of seeing Cleveland there, because they're always sort of this mid-team. They're like the Milwaukee Brewers. They always make the playoffs. They maybe make it through the first round, maybe not. But the Tigers kind of feels fresh to me. So I'd like to see the Tigers kind of hang on there.
I don't know. They just don't have enough arms. I mean, it is staggering. And if you look at the collective ERAs of everybody aside from Skubal, who are you going to give the ball to in Detroit?
Yeah, I didn't even know Charlie Morton was there. Was he with the Braves most recently? Or
Braves and Orioles, etc.
And the Rays.
Yeah, he's been everywhere, but he's
still good.
He's 42.
Yeah.
He was good up till this year, and he has really faded.
Interesting.
Second half. Okay, that's all things Major League Baseball. You want to jump into the conversation, the fans forum chat box is open.